Hello and welcome to the AU Wishbone. This is the second installment in our ongoing series, about a year apart, but we'll get better at that, of where John and I will be going through a classic Auburn game and doing sort of play-by-play and color commentary analysis, I guess historical retrospective, knowing what we know now, and just generally breaking down a fun game for about the next 45 minutes or so. And as I said on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, John, what would be awesome is if anybody out there either found or was able to create like 30 to 45 minute supercuts of classic Auburn games, because I don't have that technical ability yet. I'm not a video editor, unfortunately. I can do a lot of things on the computer, but not that. But anyway, yeah. So if you're interested, drop us a line and we'll talk. I am your host, Van Allen Plexico, joined as always by my co-host.
I'm John Ringer.
So John, what game we're looking at today?
Van, we're looking at Auburn in a classic 1980s rivalry game against Florida State in 1985.
And last time we did the 1994 Florida game in the swamp with Nix to Sanders 2, I believe we call it. And so we thought it would be fun. Plus we found this video that just perfectly for our purposes. So we're going to look at 85 Florida State. And by the way, I'll start compiling these at www.auwishbone.com. We depend on our patrons to keep our podcast and video features like this going. So go to www.auwishbone.com, click on the big orange button to become a patron so we can keep doing these with no ads. We don't do ads on any of our shows. And or just go to patreon.com and look for the AU Wishbone, and we are on there. So Auburn played a 7-game series with Florida State from 1993 through 1990. And of course, you and I were there together at the 1990, kind of the rubber match. And that was awesome, right? It
was a great game.
Yes. And it was a lower scoring game than usual for Auburn and Florida State, but worked out pretty good. Do you have any specific memories of that game? Real quick?
I mean, that is the game where famously, like, Auburn fans were so sick of listening to the chant for all these years that we beat them at home, and then turned around and did the chant at them, and they did not enjoy that experience.
It's amazing how you can do something to other people for years and think it's great, but when they do it back to you, it's how dare you? You know, they learned a little lesson that night. I think they'll serve them well the rest of their lives, but
or not.
Yeah. So that's true. Or not. Yeah. So Auburn won 83-84, and no surprise they're going to win this game or we wouldn't be talking about it. And then Florida State would win 87, 88, 89. So that 90 game was kind of the rubber match that said decide who won the series. It's interesting too, because the only year we didn't play them was 86 during that run, and we weren't going to play them in 88, but we ended up playing them in the Sugar Bowl. So it kind of worked out anyway. So 86 is the only year we didn't play them. One of my other favorite memories is I was at the 87 game where Florida State won big over a good Auburn team. And after the game, Andre Bruce was upset we weren't going to win the SEC, and they had to explain to him, the reporters had to explain to him that FSU is not in the SEC. And he's like, what? Then why are we playing them? And I was like, why indeed, Andre? You have hit upon some wisdom there, sir. Why indeed? But there we were playing them. So
I did not enjoy the 1987 game. I'll go on record and say that.
No, that was a pretty bad. That's probably was that the worst loss of Pat Dye's tenure in terms of like against a good team? I mean, I know that in 92 or whatever we, tied Arkansas or something. But I mean, in terms of or lost to Ole Miss. But I mean, just like when we were good, that may have been the worst loss.
Because it was at home, too. They came into our stadium and just pasted us.
And we had just crushed Florida the week before, and we're feeling good. We were feeling good. And then so, the 85 Tennessee game is up there, too, where we were number one in the country and went up there, and they just – which I'm about to get to. So let me do the little introduction here. So we had won the 83 game on a late interception by All-American linebacker Greg Carr. And then in 84, we went down to Tallahassee. And you and I have spoken many times about how that game was not on TV. Top 10 ranked Auburn, Florida State matchup in Tallahassee was nobody thought it was worth putting on television. So it wasn't on TV. And that was the famous 42-41 game. So Florida State came into this game really, 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 really wanting some revenge. And just a couple of quick things to set this up. I'm not going to go into the 84 notes other than just to say a couple of things here. But coming into this game, Florida State was 4-0 and ranked 4th in the country before this game we're about to watch here and comment on. They were still not part of the ACC. They were independent. Auburn was 3-1. We'd gone up there and lost to Tennessee when we were ranked number 1, and Pat Dye said we were ambushed. Remember, that was one where Bo was supposed to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated the next week, but instead that Tennessee quarterback, Tony Robinson, ended up getting the cover, which was really weird. And then after losing that game, the polls dropped us from 1 to 14. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a number 1 team dropping that far after one game. We dropped to 14. We were back up to 12 this week. And this is Pat Dye's 5th season, 85. And we had just switched to the I formation to start this season because we wanted to kind of highlight Bo getting the ball rather than splitting it with the other, Wishbone back. So we'd been in the I formation. This is the 5th game. I mean, this was like the 3rd game maybe that Bo was in the well, no, there was Southwest Louisiana too. So maybe the 4th game. And Deion Sanders, your favorite player ever, John. Deion was on this team as a freshman. We're going to see him, I believe.
Even as a freshman, he made plays. So
he did. That's right. All right. So the previous year, the 42-41 game in Tallahassee, Bo Jackson had not played. And so Auburn in the Wishbone had come out with Brent Fullwood and Collis Campbell and Kyle Collins and beat him 42-41. So you had to wonder, what did Bobby Bowden think coming into this game? It's really interesting to see how are they going to try to defend Bo Jackson. So without further ado, you ready to fire it up and get going here?
Hit it.
All right. So they're going to start us out with some highlights of the previous year. And, I try to get my notes back up. And there's Fullwood on the little pitch and diving in for I believe that's the go-ahead. Yeah, that's the go-ahead score, 42-41. And so here we are on the graphics, 1985.
Sophisticated graphics.
The 1985, what's a great AU there. So I forgot we had all this, or I would have gone ahead and been doing our preview.
It's all good. I think the other thing for context for this game is this is not the Florida State of the late 90s that had been a perennial national title contender. They're still on their way up at this point. They're still becoming the team that would finish in the top 4 like 11 years in a row, whatever. And so this was them coming to Auburn and having the series was big in terms of their, the kind of national emergence. As you said, they're an independent and they didn't get that soft ACC schedule yet. So
that's right. And it's also, I think, notable that I'm all caught up in the look at the lovely flowers growing there. That's where they have the little cafe thing right now where people sit or something.
Yes,
it's a different world now. Pat Dye in his prime. Pat Dye in his prime coming out. But yeah, no, this was before Florida State had the great defense, right? This is right at the beginning. I think this is before they had Mickey Andrews. They had, I guess, Mickey Andrews. All right, so Florida State's going to kick off, and it's going to be caught for no return. And so Auburn's going to come out with the ball. Remember, they had Tommy Agee as a junior this year at fullback with Bo Jackson at tailback and Pat Washington. I want your thoughts on Pat Washington as we go along. And then Fast Freddie Wagan, Trey Gaines are your wide receivers. This is pre-Lawyer Tillman. And And then our great offensive line of that their era.
Steve Wallace, an All-Pro in the NFL for many years. Stacey Searles.
Oh, yeah.
Currently the line coach at Georgia, I believe. So
Bo takes a pitch and goes to the right for 7 yards. With very little blocking there, he kind of just was out on the edge and had to kind of make his way for 7 yards.
Garth Jacks. That's a great football name.
That's a name from a bad 80s sci-fi movie. All right, Washington under center, I formation, AG at the fullback, and he's going to get the ball and go up the middle, but not for a lot. Florida State's middle of their defense was fairly stout. So it's 3rd and 2. Still in the I formation. All right, we're going to move the tight end left to right to left, and here goes Bo, get his first down. What do you think about Bo Jackson? I mean, when you see him in plays like this, and there's a personal foul, you see plays like this, Washington's going to throw the ball, looking to his left, and it is incomplete to Freddie Wigand. What do you think about, does Bo look superhuman?
I think it's funny that I was thinking about the move from the wishbone to the I formation. We're opening up the offense by going to the I formation.
I know, isn't that funny? But look out, when you got Superman.
When you're in the open field against him, you have problems.
It's over. 53 yards. Oh, I guess I need to say, Bo around left end. 20, 15, 10, 5. He's gone. Touchdown, Auburn. Bo Jackson for 53 yards. Okay, carry on.
He's got the headband on today. I mean, it was the right move because it gave him, more touches and more focus, but it also opened up things on the outside where he could get in that situation where it's him on the perimeter one-on-one with a defensive back, a safety or somebody. He could run through that person or over that person.
That's right. All right, so now Florida State comes out in the I formation as well. Very popular in the mid-'80s. We were transitioning away from the wishbone. Oh, a little reverse to
a flea flicker reverse on the first play of the game. Florida State going right into the Bobby Bowden bag of tricks.
Bobby Bowden, yeah. Danny McManus at quarterback, Cletus Jones and Tony Smith. I think Tony Smith later played for the Falcons. Or that's the Southern Miss. There were a bunch of Smiths running around at running back during that era.
Maybe Dukes played for the Falcons at offensive line.
Yeah, and was a radio host in Atlanta for a number of years when I lived there. All right, McManus dropping back. He's got the screen to 49 Smith, and Smith is going to pick his way along the sideline all the way up to midfield. By the way, I remember Hassan Jones and his buddy Jesse Hester, who I think went to the Colts, that were on those Florida State teams. All right, McManus can complete a pass over the middle. So Florida State's rolling.
Tracy Rocker in this defense.
What a great defense.
Yep.
Gerald Robinson, Harold Hallman. Oh.
Kevin Porter.
Tommy Powell, the safety, I believe, is injured on this play. He's shaken up, so they're going to bring him out. And now Florida State passing. Oh, almost intercepted by let's see. I don't remember who the 41
Pat
that was. Pat Thomas. Yeah, it's going to be Quentin Riggins the next year, but we always think of 41 as Quentin Riggins, but this was the year before Quentin. All right, McManus is scrambling and he's swarmed over and he's brought down. This is before the players had names on their jerseys, so you kind of have to know the numbers.
Makes it harder. Yeah,
Smith breaks loose on the left end down inside the 20. I think it was 1992 that they got names on their jerseys because of the 100th anniversary. McManus going to throw to his left, and he's got one of those Florida State receivers. Now they're deep in the red zone now. Come on, Auburn defense needs to bow up here from the 10. Smith up the middle.
It's interesting. Oh, offsides. It's interesting watching these now, how bunched together the defense is in the center versus spread out on the outside.
Another reverse.
Austin.
And Holloman, the receiver, gets the touchdown. And so there's the Florida State contingent in Jordan-Hare. And they're going to kick the extra point to make it 7-7. And so this game, 5 minutes gone in the game, and in what Pat Dye would like to be like a 7-3 grinded out game, and it's already 7-7.
And this is a sign of things to come, right?
Yeah,
This is we had the previous year, the big shootout game, and the two teams kind of just walked into the stadium and picked up where they left off from the year before.
he really did. Yeah, there's Brent Fullwood, fair catching in the end zone. So now coming back out in the I formation with Washington, he's going to pitch it to Bo, who's going to get just a couple. 3 yards, but holding, going to move us back 10. So now it's second and
long.
Second and long. Bo's trying to find. Oh, they got him. Wow, you don't see that very often. But even the greatest backs, even Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson,
Yep.
Herschel Walker would get stopped in the backfield every now and then. We're kind of going. Are we going to the well too often?
It's predictable, right? I mean, the whole defense is like just focus on Bo, key on him, go get him, and it makes it. It does make it predictable. We got to spread the ball around a little bit, I think. Use
And
him
not
as
a lot of
decoy.
Not a lot of passing threat either from this team, from this Auburn team, which was one of their Achilles heel. All right, so we punted out to about the 48 of Florida State. They're going to take over there. McManus is going to almost like a reverse. That was like an early jet sweep kind of Gus Malzahn play.
Yeah, they faked the reverse, ran at the middle, and it got us.
Fake it again, but that time it looked like Harold Hallman brought him down. The defensive linemen on this Auburn team could make plays like linebackers. That was one of the things that was amazing about them. Good coverage by, I think that's Porter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the two-back set, totally different set that time. They're in a two-back, little screen it out to a different running back. That's not Smith, I don't think. And then he's going to get down inside the 30. So Florida State, by the way, that was Deion Sanders that received the punt a minute ago. Start this drive, but he didn't get anything out of it. So Florida State pounding away here. They switched to the two-back set.
Moving the ball down the field, get another first down there.
Did you notice the set Auburn was in when we were down in our own end zone a minute ago was a single back with just AG at fullback and no tailback?
Mm-hmm.
That was weird. You don't see that very often. All right, 2nd and 10. Inside the red zone, looks like you could see a screen coming. Yeah, and and he's gonna get quite a little bit more than expected. Down the 10, 2 tight ends. Pitch to Smith around right end, down to about the 7. Not a lot of defense being played in this game, other than on the run.
Just moving down the field gradually here.
Yeah, they lost about a yard on that play. And now they're going to try another screen, and he drops it. So it's 3rd and goal at the Auburn 8.
Big play right here.
Swallow up McManus there, crutch him. They're going to have to try a field goal. So here comes Florida State out to take the lead if they can knock down this field goal. And the low res of the 80s. No, it is no good. Florida State misses a short field goal.
Bit of a chip shot, but a weird angle that probably didn't help him.
It was a weird angle off to the left. All right, so Pat Washington back under center. It's a pass all the way, and they get a hand on his arm and knock it down. So, all right, we're still in the I. 2 tight ends, both on the right side. Bo runs up the middle for nothing. The middle of Florida State's defense is really taking over this game at this point.
Yep, they're holding up.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No.
Oh, pick six.
Eric Williams for Florida State. Washington, really not a good start to this game. A couple of bad incompletions, and then that pass right to the defender.
Yeah. It kind of got knocked up in the air, and he took it out of the air and took it in. And so it is 14-7, Florida State. And then again, in a game like this, where it's going to be a tennis match back and forth, you can't be giving up cheap scores. Yes. I think this is Brent Fullwood decided to bring it out of the end zone, and he's going to get to where he would have been if he'd have just taken a knee. So Auburn's going to start at the 20, because back then you'd been at 20. Pitch to Bo around left end, and Bo finds a little bit of room, about 7 yards.
I was going to say, what a luxury to have AG on kickoff returns like a running back of that caliber.
A Fullwood?
Yeah. Fullwood.
Yes. Yes. And that was Reggie Ware up the middle. He's the backup fullback. He was kind of like AG was our in the middle of the field blocking fullback and carry it some. And then Reggie Ware would come in when we'd get in the red zone often. All right, another pitch to Bo. Bo now has 68 yards in the game, but they mostly come from that one run, that 53-yard run. Otherwise
they've done a good job containing him, like you said, in the middle.
Yeah, they're running him. When they run him on the edge, he seems to be doing a little bit better. When they run Bo up the middle, Florida State's clamping down on him pretty hard. Going to run Bo. They're trying.
You could see they got like 8 guys in the box waiting for him.
Let's put it this way. Florida State is not worried about the pass.
No.
Look at that. I mean, again, they run Bo to the left, and there's just nothing there because Florida State is just putting their entire defense. Oh, it's 4th and 1. We're in kind of a power eye. Somebody moved. Auburn was in the power eye like it's Doug Barfield. But an illegal procedure against Florida State on defense, that's kind of weird.
Maybe they, calling out the snap or that kind of trying to fake the guys out. That's some of that stuff.
So it's 1st and 5. And Bo found a little room this time. No, that's Fullwood.
Fullwood comes in, and they're like, they're not going to give it to him.
And Fullwood finds some room. Yeah. Here goes Brent Fullwood again, kind of over left end for about a yard. 2nd and 9. Fullwood to the right side, breaks loose. Fullwood is having a little better. Other than that one play, I would say Fullwood so far is looking better than Bo. Just a different running style. There goes AG, or either AG or Ware. I didn't see the number up the middle. Just short of a first down. So now we're going to, I believe, bring Bo in on a 2-back set. Oh, a 3-back power eye. And Bo goes over the top. The famous Bo over the top
play. I was going to say, a familiar play we will see later in other games.
That's right. All right. Bo's going to pick his way around right end. It's just hard to come by. 12 carries, 79 yards.
It's 2 to 3 yards for Bo, and then 2 guys are on him. Like it's
just not finding any running room. All right, Washington on the option. He's going to keep it and turn it upfield. Hey, old Pat got a couple of yards out of that one. To the down to the 5. So 1st and goal, Auburn at the Florida State 5-yard line. He's going to give it to Fullwood, who is to the goal line. Did he get in? No. All right. Reggie Ware comes in at fullback, and he's going to take it in. Reggie Ware will not be denied.
Whole defense was waiting for that Bo over the top again, and they got him with the fullback.
Yep. Ware was a great back. He was a great fullback for us, great scoring back. Could punch it in the end zone. I remember they used to throw Frisbees to him to increase his ability to catch the ball, not just take the handoff and dive. So it's 14-14 in the second quarter. Ware always used to say, inside the 5, it's mine. So Auburn kicks off. And Florida State will have no return inside their own end zone. And we get a change at quarterback. Eric Thomas comes in the I formation. You got to think he's going to throw the ball pretty soon. That would be why they'd put him in, right? But he run for no gain. Fakes the pitch, fakes the pass, going deep. Florida State going deep. And they complete it. Philip Bryant down to the 30. Beat Kevin Porter. Oh, tries a little short over the middle pass, but the Auburn secondary is there. Bobby Bowden's not happy about it.
A lot of defenders around that one.
Yeah. 2nd and 10 from the 30. Gets to the 26. Going to give it to Wells for no gain.
Good defense there.
So Florida State's going to have to try another field goal. And this time with a harder one, it's good. But there's an offsides on Auburn. Do you take the points off the board?
I would never take the points off the board.
All right. So it is 17-14.
Look at the job by the holder there. That was a bad snap, and the defender was coming. Oh, he probably roughed the kicker too.
Yeah, that was Kevin Porter diving in. So 17-14, Florida State late in the second quarter. There's about 5 minutes to go in the first half now. So it's looking like a much lower scoring game than last year. Fullwood catches it out the back of the end zone, so we'll start at the 20. Pat Washington, pitch to Bo. Gets about 5 or 6. Would you have thought about putting in Jeff Berger or something instead of Pat Washington? What do you think about Washington?
He's struggling at this point, but also you saw his running threat a little while ago helped, and I think a couple of those plays maybe could balance it out. When you have Bo Jackson and Fullwood, you want somebody who can run the offense. But you're right. The passing game does allow the defense. The lack of passing game allows the defense to just come up and really focus. Oh, here we go.
Reverse to Wagan. Freddie Wagan has some room on the left side. 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10. Goes out of bounds about the 7 or 8 yard line. Freddie Wagan, 55 yards. Great block by number 66, and that was Deion Sanders that caught him. Fine.
And a great call, as we were talking about, the lack of passing game, the pressure on the running game.
Yes. They used the reverse basically like a passing game to kind of open things up a little bit, but now they've closed back down again. 4 guys on Fullwood there. No gain. It's 3rd down. We're going to give to Fullwood again, and he's going to lose a yard. So it's 4th down. That great play got us down in the red zone, but now here comes Chris Knapp, and the kick is good. So with 2:35 to go in the first half, it is 17-17. Chris Knapp, no offense, Chris Knapp, probably the last year we had a disappointing kicking game until last year, 2024.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's a true statement. That's a long time.
Yeah. He wasn't great in 86 either, to be honest. All right, we kicked the ball out the back of the end zone, and Thomas is going to remain at quarterback. So they're back in the I formation. But no, I think it was an interesting point that, we were talking about how there was no passing game for Auburn, and Smith's just going to run around for a while and gain about a yard. We didn't have a passing game, and so we really kind of used the reverse to create one. I think we saw the one complete pass that Washington has thrown so far.
No, that's right. We had to do something else to open up the defense, and they're keying on Bo so much that anytime we use him as a diversion, the defense will all go with him and open up the other side. So.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so now Florida State into the split pro set backfield. Floyd gained a little bit on first down, lost a little bit on second down. Third down, they try a little screen pass to the left. It is incomplete.
Auburn was waiting for that.
They were waiting. So it's 3rd down, and here comes pressure.
Get him.
And he completed it.
Good.
Unbelievable. Thomas, under incredible pressure, throws the ball downfield and completes it to the Auburn 42. All right, Thomas looking again. And that time they got to him. The ball is loose. Andre Bruce. That was the great Andre Bruce. The passing yards, 157-6. I think it's fair to say Florida State had a little more sophisticated passing game. 157-6, and they just added a few more. All right, Thomas overshoots his receiver. Pat Dye is uncomfortable. So I believe that there's 13 seconds to go, and they're going to have to try to kick a field goal. And that looks like one of my tee shots.
I was going to say, a left-footed kicker for Florida State, too. You're not used to seeing that.
No. Oh, they're going to do the longest yard at halftime. I'm not quite sure what that means. I guess. All right, so there we go. We go in at halftime, and I'm going to pause our pause it for just a second. So going at halftime, let's talk about it for a minute. 17-17. What are your thoughts about this game? 17-17 at the half.
No passing game for Auburn. Auburn has a great stable of running backs, but there's no Florida State is keying on the tailback every play and making it tough sledding. And Auburn's not opening up a lot of holes because there's 8 guys in the box a lot. Our defense is playing okay, but the passing game of Florida State's tough. We're having some problems there. But at the end of the half, you saw us get a little more pressure on them and kind of turn our guys loose a little bit. And I think that's something we're going to keep our eye on. I also think, Auburn didn't need to take a bunch of chances because they were in the game and felt like we were at home and in the game. So,
yeah, and winning by 1, Pat Dye would have been perfectly happy with. He was not interested in style points or anything like that. But all right, so Pat Washington has struggled. He's a good game manager, able to get the ball to the running backs and so forth. I'm sort of surprised we haven't done any screen passes really. I mean, when you've got so many guys that can catch the ball and do things with it, once they get it, you got Bo Jackson, you got Brent Fullwood, you got Tommy A.D. to a certain degree. Where, you could be doing all kind of inside screens on them. I mean, it just seems like we're coming out and saying we have Bo Jackson, stop us.
yes.
And for the most part, other than a play or two, Florida State said, okay, we will.
Exactly. And it's just straight pitch or handoff to Bo. We're not doing an option. We're not, faking other things and giving it to Bo. It's like, here, line up, student body left kind of. So
I remember when Bo went to the Raiders, and like one of the first games he played for the Raiders, they just did this little wrinkle where the whole offensive line stepped to the left on the snap, and Bo took a step to the left, and then he pivoted and went to the right. And just that one little thing opened up space for him. And I'm like, Coach Dye, we love you, but do something to help. It's like Pat Dye saying, I have a hammer. Now I'm just going to hit you in the face with this hammer, right? I'm not going to do anything clever. I'm not going to come from the side. I'm not going to throw it at you. I'm just going to hit you. And if you can just stop that hammer,
or also just you watch the hammer and I'm going to put my hand over here and do something else. We had that one reverse that had a huge play, but it was, kind of a one-off.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it does show, you can see where the next season in 86 is where Berger comes in and we have a lot more passing game.
Yes.
And you can tell why that 86 team without Bo had more success than this 85 team, I think, right? Because with that passing game, it opened things up for Brent Fullwood, who was our feature back that year, a little bit more.
And I want to say, like, having Fullwood as the backup is such an incredible luxury. Like, I think younger Auburn fans have no idea how good he was.
Right. It's not quite having Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State, but it's kind of reverse. Bo was like Barry Sanders, in at least in terms of ability, not style.
Yeah.
And Thurman Thomas and Brent Fullwood kind of similar. I mean, again, not in physically, it's the other way around, but you know what I mean. One was more successful. So anyway, all right. So let's get this. Let's get into halftime and get into the second half here. Florida State's going to get the ball to start the third quarter. This is a TNT game, interestingly enough.
One comment about the halftime thing. Burt Reynolds went to Florida State.
Yes.
Promoting the Longest Yard movie.
I guess so. All right. So Auburn kicks off. Florida State's going to bring it out. Uh-oh.
Look out.
Oh, dear. Get him. Oh, down to about the 38, 39 yard line. So Florida State starts on their own 39. It looks like Thomas is just taking over for McManus, and he gives it for about a yard, but that was an illegal procedure on Florida State. Back him up. Smith, I think that was Smith, gets swarmed over for no gain. All right, Thomas wants to throw the ball. He's looking to throw, and it is intercepted by Kevin Porter. Ball goes off the hands of Hassan Jones. Pat Dye is very excited. So Auburn's taking over inside their 40. And there we go. Bo tries around right side for no gain. Line up in the I formation again. Washington give to Bo up the middle for very little. They just pointed out in the last 2 games that Auburn won by a total of 4 points. All right, Washington looking, going to throw to, it's a complete, it's his second complete pass to a young Lawyer Tillman. Imagine having Lawyer Tillman and Freddie Wagan on this team and having completed 2 passes at this point.
Ron Middleton was a good tight end too. He played in the NFL for a long time.
Oh yeah. And Bo Jackson, throw a screen to him. So I guess we got the
the first down on Bo up the middle there.
Oh, complete to, is that Wegand?
I think so.
That was a 4th down conversion where Bo Jackson went over the top and got the first down. He was kind of like Cam Newton going up the middle on 4th and 1. All right, so that was, I believe, Reggie Ware for about a yard. Auburn is about just outside the red zone, complete to Trey Gaines, the great Trey Gaines, for a first down to the 18-yard line. So now Auburn is in the red zone, and Tommy Agee up the middle. I first thought Pat Washington kept it. That was nice.
It was wide open for him.
Yeah. So Auburn just outside the 10, going to give to Brent Fullwood, who churns his way, fights his way down to the 2.
Hard running by Fullwood. That was great.
Great. Fullwood was just run with abandon. All right. Little offset there, and Fullwood's going to get in. He's in. Touchdown, Auburn. Brent Fullwood.
Runs through a man.
Yes. Offsides on the Florida State defense is declined. The score is going to stand up. Brent Fullwood takes it in, gets a high five from Bo, and that extra point was an adventure. I'll take it, but then we get Pat Dye's reaction as Fullwood takes it in. And seems kind of inexplicable to me. Auburn is up 24-17. Does it seem like Auburn should be winning this game by a touchdown? I feel like Florida State's outplayed us to this point. I don't know.
Only because of the passing thing. I think they had the missed field goal. They had a couple other problems, and Auburn has the big turnover we created. That was really the difference in the game at this point. Yeah.
It's true. They haven't gotten a lot on the ground. Florida State hadn't done a lot on the ground, and we haven't done a lot in the air. Almost another interception. Almost another interception. Thomas is 2 incompletions on this drive. It's 3rd and 10. Thomas is going to take the snap from the pro set split backfield. He's looking, going to throw to his left. And did he catch it? He claims he did, but apparently not.
Yeah, it hit the turf.
So Florida State punts. And I guess that's Trey Gaines going to return it. Oh, got his helmet.
Lost his helmet and kept going. That's a rule that they've changed now. They would have blown that play dead in a second. Back then, they're like, oh, well.
Dang. So we jump ahead to Auburn.
Kicking a field goal in that drive.
Oh, here's a replay. So on the next play, they didn't get this. They pitch it to Bo. I'll pause and explain in a second. They pitch it to Bo. Look at Deion Sanders trying to bring Bo down. And Bo just ran over Deion. Touchdown, Auburn! Watch Bo just abuse Deion. Here he comes. Here's Deion.
Stiff arm Deion to the ground. That was great. I like a poster of that.
Second touchdown for Bo, a 53 and a 35. Again, you can stop him all day, but he gets 2 plays in that are good and they're touchdowns. All right, let me pause it here to explain kind of what happened. They jumped ahead. The video highlight didn't miss something. The announcers are saying they apologize. The referees would not stop the game during a commercial. Imagine that happening today.
Yeah. This was before the guy in the red vest or whatever walks out in the field and stops the game, and the officials are like, "No, we're playing. Let's go."
So Bob Neal on the broadcast pointed out that while they were away having the commercial, Auburn scored a touchdown. We saw the replay there. He apologized. So yeah, kind of weird. They refused to stop the play even though they were supposed to, and so Bo Jackson takes it in from 35 yards out. And you got to love him dragging Deion. But while we're paused here for just a second, let's just revisit Deion Sanders there. That reminded me of Cam Newton dragging Patrick Peterson into the end zone in the LSU game.
Deion is one of the best players in college football, one of the Florida State's best players they've ever produced. He was later an All-American and a top NFL draft pick, but he was a player who talked a lot of crap and taunted opposing fans and players and stuff, and he could back it up on the field, so that was fine, but it made you not like him as an opposing fan. And so I was we talked about this before, I was in the seats in the Sugar Bowl when he intercepted the pass at the end of the game, after the 1988 season, and taunted every single Auburn a person on the sideline, including Pat Dye and Bo Jackson, who was there in street clothes. And so I intensely dislike Deion Sanders, and any chance to see him get his comeuppance makes me happy, including this when he was a young player and Bo's at the peak of his powers. It was wonderful.
That's so good. I will point out, I don't think I mentioned earlier that Bo's first touchdown tied him for the all-time Auburn touchdown record at that time. I think Cadillac will later tie him for the career. And then this one broke, I think it was Joe Cribbs' record. Either Brooks or Cribbs.
The other thing here is, again, it was 17-17. We had the interception. Auburn scores. Florida State has 3 incompletions, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn has a good punt return, and a good punt return and a bow run, and boom, we're up 2 touchdowns like that. After feeling like we were doing nothing all day, suddenly Auburn's jumped on him with both feet.
It's interesting, and it won't be the last time it feels that way, too. This is also Bo's 17th 100-yard game for Auburn, extending his record at that time. And also, I noted that Andre Bruce was playing special teams on the kickoff coming up here. So keep an eye for Andre Bruce. I believe he was 93, I think was his number, on the kickoff. We had Chris Knapp. Now we have Chris Johnson. We had 2 Chris's. Neither one of them did a whole lot, and Coach Dye was never happy with either one of them. We really don't get our kicking game sorted out until Win Lyle shows up in 87. So here comes yes, go ahead.
My only comment on the kicking game is maybe this is some kind of penalty for running off a good kicker.
Oh, McGinty. Yeah, we kind of thought McGinty was going to cover that for us for a couple of years there, and we ended up not having a kicker when we ran him off. We literally ran him off. We're like, here's a bus ticket to Gainesville. Enjoy your time with the Gators there, Robert. And he proceeded to repay us the next year by kicking that long field goal that beat us in Gainesville. All right, so Chris Johnson is kicking off.
With Andre Bruce behind him on the right there.
There's Bruce, yeah. Yeah. That's not a bad player to have on your special team.
Running down the field full speed at me, that'd be a problem. But
it would, yeah. So, all right. So Florida State takes it in the end zone. So here comes Thomas still at quarterback. I think we've seen the last of poor McManus, or maybe, I'm not sure. They try to run up the middle. So again, their running game is not doing a whole lot, and our passing game was not doing a whole lot. A little option from Thomas. He keeps it across the 30 for 7. So now it's 3rd down, and reverse. Florida State running the reverse. And he doesn't get a lot. Still in the eye. Tight end to the left. Another option play. And Tom,
grabbed on the jersey there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a penalty or not. They didn't call one. It's 3rd and 3.
It's before that horse collar penalty rule.
All right, so Florida State was in the pro set 2 back. But they took too long. So it's 3rd and 8. Thomas looking, going to set the screen. And he gets a bunch, but not to the first down.
They're going.
Yeah. All right. 4th down. Give to the tailback. Oof. No gain. But play's not over. Play's not over. Play's not over. They threw a pass, and it's all the way down to the 5-yard line or thereabouts. It was a fake. Nobody, even the cameraman.
Faked me out too.
And then they're going to run a reverse down inside the 3. Yeah, it faked everybody. Nobody saw that. That was kind of a Boomer Esiason level play action there. And then Smith is going to walk in on the right corner, and Florida State's back in the game. But yeah, they ran that fake handoff. Everybody thought the running back had it. Extra points.
The quarterback really sold it. He did that thing where he kind of put the ball behind his back and just stood there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then made the connection too. That was the other part of it. So 31-24. We're still up 7. But if you were getting a little comfortable, you're not comfortable anymore because Florida State can strike fast. So they're going to kick it off, and Fullwood takes it at 1, so he's got to bring it out, and he gets to about the 15 or 16. He hesitated. I don't think he realized he was out of the end zone. So Washington up the middle to AG, pounds his way to the 25. Great run. There's about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter at this point.
It's interesting that the total yards was equal at that point when we hadn't been able to throw the ball much at all.
Wow, isn't that crazy? So Pat Washington throws he does try deep pass. That doesn't work. So just give it to Bo. Why not just give it to Bo, John? To the 36.
It's never the wrong decision.
Yeah, you just got to help him a little bit. Oh, and a complete pass. Is that Gaines? Yeah.
Yep.
Trey Gaines to the 46. And then Washington, I don't know what he was doing there, but the play got blown up. Now we're going to send Bo around right in for about 1 yard. It's not looking good. It's 3rd and 9. Oh, well, let me pause it to that little. Well, it went off the screen already, but let me just. I made a note. Auburn is 2nd in the nation in total offense at 516.2 yards average per game. I mean, with very little passing game. Does that say it all about?
Yes.
Bo Jackson and Brent Fullwood? With almost no passing game, we are the 2nd best offense in the country.
That's it. We're just lining up and running at you, and the offensive line, the blocking on the outside, you can't stop it.
And I mean, you know who that reminds me of in that era was like Oklahoma would have those great running teams that would dominate the Big 8 or whatever, and have tons of yards with no passing. So, all right. So we're at, I guess, 3rd down and 9, and Washington under center in the I formation as we resume. And Washington, they're going to sack him. They're getting up the middle on him here all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Jones. And so Lewis Colbert, the great Lewis Colbert, punts.
Not a lot of punting in this game.
No. Deion Sanders running, dancing, getting tackled, losing about 5 yards on that return. How did they never put Deion in as a receiver on a play or two? Wouldn't you think they'd have done that?
Later in his career, they did. He's too young at this point. Oh,
intercepted! It is intercepted! Intercepted! He's going to run it all the way back down. Oh, is he? Oh, he went out of bounds.
He was out of bounds.
45.
Not sure who that is. But.
Jimmy Warren. Oh, but we got called for an illegal block. It's going to put us on the 44. But that was Jimmy Warren. Great interception of Thomas. Tommy A.G. churning his way up the middle. The entire Florida State defense is there as we go into the fourth quarter.
Again, the turnovers, really the difference in the game. Without them,
yes,
we might even be losing at this point.
So we're only up a touchdown as we go into the fourth quarter. And let's point that out again as Bo gets a couple of yards. It's 31-24. We're in the fourth quarter now, and we have 31 points. Florida State has 24. It is still anybody's game.
Yes.
Auburn is driving. We're inside the 30 now. Just run, grind it out. Washington looks. So he's throwing a high arching ball to Wagan that's incomplete. All right, offset. Tight end in motion. Bo's going to get some blocking from that tight end around the right end and gets the first down. You saw Bo slip through that tiny little opening that the tight end gave him. All right, inside the red zone, first down at the 20. makes a man miss, makes another man miss inside the 15. Just grinding out the clock here in the fourth quarter, 31-27, 31-24. Fullwood, Fullwood just getting beaten to death.
But also, I think we're wearing on them. The offensive line and the running backs are pounding the Florida State defense on a hot day, and I think they're, starting to take a toll on them.
AG stopped for no gain up the middle. Power eye. AG in motion, blocking out to the side. They're trying different little tricks to get Bo some blocking and some yardage, but Florida State's defense is just too good and too fast. It's not there. In fact, I think the reason Fullwood was having more success is he's more spinely and quick than Bo, right? They're out there. Pitch. Thomas takes over now, and they pitch to Smith, who gets all the way to the 35. But yeah, it's like they're waiting on Bo, but Fullwood's kind of able to squirm his way loose where Bo couldn't. Thomas on the option, going to keep it and get about a yard. He's going to be hurting when this game is over. They're going to have to ice him down. Still in the eye. Thomas looks. He has 85 all the way across midfield to the Auburn 49.
The Bobby Bowden offense, a lot of good little misdirection things keep the defense off balance.
Yeah. That was a fourth down that we went for it.
Yes.
Pitch, ball gets loose. Florida State manages to fall on it, but they lost 7 yards all the way back, or 8 yards all the way back to their 43. Now a little draw play. Smith is across the 50, 45, 40 to the 35. Down he goes at the Auburn 34. Florida State is driving. The fullback up the middle gets a nice opening and gets to just outside the 20. Florida State is moving the ball now.
Starting to run the ball on us a little bit when they couldn't earlier.
Lost a little bit there. That Cletus Jones was the fullback. I think he had a great country music career
all
later.
Over him.
Woo, huge taking down of Thomas.
3rd and a country mile for Florida State.
There's less than 7 minutes to go in the game, and Auburn is up by 7. Thomas has run out of bounds.
So in that sense, it's a big series because you don't know how many more times you're going to get the ball. And so stopping them and holding them to a field goal attempt was big.
Field goal is good. So now let's get the score up here if they're going to show us. And I want to stop one more time.
38-27. No, 31-27.
All right. So I think it's important at this point in the game that we reset. Okay. We've seen it's remarkable to me. It's as high scoring as this, considering how much of a defensive game on both sides of the ball this has been. This has been a game where the defenses have shut down the offenses most of the time, but there have been big plays on both sides that have kept it a little higher scoring than you would have thought.
But also there hasn't been a lot of punting, right? I mean, both teams, they have these long drives, and at least they're getting into field goal range kind of at the end of them. So
yeah. Well, I failed to mention, because again, it's moving pretty quickly here. We're having to kind of keep up with it. But when Auburn got deep in Florida State's territory the last time that we had the ball, it was 4th and 1, and instead of kicking a field goal, we gave it to Ware, the fullback, and he was stopped for no gain. So that's how Florida State got the ball and came down and kicked that field goal. So, I mean, they don't show the clock, but there's about 6 minutes to go now. There's about 6 minutes to go in the game. And it's 31-27. Auburn is up by 4. And Florida State scored the last 10 points.
Yeah, you're a little nervous now as an Auburn fan. You're only up 4 with 6 minutes to go, and Florida State feels like they're getting hot.
They are. They've scored the last 10 points, and they've been catching up. We made a couple of mistakes. We turned the ball over in their red zone. So now, John, the universe turns upside down and everything gets very, very weird. It's about to get weird, y'all. Here we go with the last 6 minutes of the game. Oh, buckle up. It's for those of you watching this that don't know what's about to happen next, I truly envy you. Florida State kicks off and goes out the back of the end zone. Fullwood lets it go. All right, here we go. Bo and Tommy AG. AG is loose. AG is loose. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15. Tommy AG all the way to the 12-yard line of Florida State.
The fullback got him.
Wow. They've been keying on Bo all game. Just like that. There you go. And we did something to help Bo. We gave it to Tommy AG. All right, second down. Oh, as Washington was getting swarmed over, we get it to Freddie Wagan for the touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn! Freddie Wagan! Freddie Wagan on the reverse! Freddie Wagan on the reverse! I think Pat Dye didn't want to be out-trick played by Bobby Bowden.
Everybody was all over Bo, all over Pat Washington. Wagan just gets it and cruises in.
It looked like Washington was going to be sacked.
Yes.
And as he swarmed over, he reached out and gave the ball to Wagan, who just had clean sailing.
That's one of those no, 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 yes.
Yeah, that's right. So Auburn's kicking off. Suddenly it's 38-27, and the kick goes out of bounds. It's a touchback. I thought it was going to be a penalty, but it apparently got into the end zone. 441 to 370 something total yards. All right, they're going to give up the middle. 441 to 373. 2-yard gain on first down. Thomas is under pressure. It is intercepted. Kevin Porter. Go. Kevin Porter. Touchdown, Auburn. Touchdown, Auburn. Kevin Porter on the interception.
Fans are going bananas.
That's the third interception for Thomas. Kind of like the LSU interception game a little bit, John. A little bit. Although
he looked good early. He had a bunch of passing yards, but he turned the ball over, and that was the difference.
So if you went to the restroom for a minute or went to get a drink and came back, and you're like, all right, here comes Florida State. They're down 4. And then you're like, wait a minute. They're down 18.
18.
All right, so there was a penalty on the kickoff. So we kick off again, and they're going to bring it out to the 28 roughly. Oh, Ferguson is in. The quarterback has been replaced. I think it's Chip Ferguson. Looking. Oh, no! It is intercepted, Auburn! Intercepted! 10-4, touchdown, Auburn! Touchdown, Auburn!
That was awesome.
All right. Now, I got to pause. I made a note here. Ferguson takes his second snap of the game and fumbles it to Auburn in the air. He's had 2 snaps, and both of them were turnovers to Auburn. Did they bring this back or no? I think that's
Stallworth.
50. So it's 52. Ron Stallworth, yeah. So I think it's 52-27. Florida State. Imagine being a Florida State fan in the stands and went to the bathroom for a couple of minutes. We kick off again.
You were like, we're down 4. We're hot. I think we got it.
Yes. Oh, no, he picks up the drop. Oh, that was a mistake. Florida State dropped the ball in the end zone, picked it up, got out to about the 12. Personal foul on Auburn's going to help them a little bit, so they're out across the 25. Oh, no, fumbles the ball. Fumbles the football. Auburn's got it. Auburn's got it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
They're in their own heads at this point, Florida State.
Oh, yeah. And here goes Bo. Bo to the 22. All right. Washington under center. Going to pitch it to Bo over left end. And he gets a couple close to the 20. Third down. He's had 29 carries, 176 yards. Doesn't feel like Bo's had 176 yards in this game.
I know, but he did. That's how he did it.
Jeff Berger. Jeff Berger in, and he pitches.
Curtis Stewart.
Demetrius 3 is coming in. There he is. Go on, Demetrius. Go on, Demetrius. Touchdown, Auburn. Touchdown, Auburn. Demetrius 3. I haven't heard that name in 100 years. It is 50. It's about to be, with the extra point, 59-27. Auburn kicks off again.
Again, there's only 6 minutes of game time from the time it was 31-27. There's only incredible. 6 minutes of game time. This all takes place in 6 minutes of football.
Less than, yes. It looked like Auburn thought they recovered another turnover. So, all right, here goes I think Floyd Ross out to the 32. And then he's going to run left for a couple. There's, I believe there's about less than a minute to go in the game now. And Ferguson, who's given the ball to Auburn twice already, incomplete. He throws into double coverage, almost makes it a trifecta. He's going to try it again, looking. We're not bringing a lot of pressure anymore. We're just covering everywhere now. Incomplete, no interference, no flag. He's got to try up. In delay of game on Florida State. They're already back inside their own 30. They're Bobby Bowden trying to dial up that 30-point play here. Get them back in the game. Going deep. And it is incomplete. And I think, all right, one more pass. There's like 5 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, 0. Completes it over the middle. And he's down, and I think that's going to do it. Yep, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is over in Jordan-Hare Stadium as Pat Dye goes out to shake the hands of Bobby Bowden. We have rung them up for 42 points last year and 59.
Bo Jackson talking to Bobby Bowden there.
There he is. This is the biggest blowout loss in Florida State history, as far as I know. It certainly was at the time. 59-27. I remember the headline on the Birmingham News the next day was "The Dam Breaks and AU wins by 32." So, all right, we made it to the end. Let me see if I had a couple more notes. I'm fighting with my computer here. There.
In your notes, you have Florida State had 9 turnovers in this game.
Good gosh.
It's tough to win when you have 9 turnovers. How many times you get the ball in the game? You had 9 turnovers.
That's more than LSU had in the 1994 interception game, including the fumble in that game. But yeah, 9 turnovers. You make a good point. Has a team ever won a game with
no way anybody's ever won a game with 9 turnovers?
32. I mean, because again, if you don't look at the last 6 minutes of that game, it felt like they were right there. I mean,
they had a bunch of yards. They moved the ball up and down the field, but they always scored 27 points. And I think it really, after the first half, it was turnovers.
Yeah, and I love that their backup quarterback had 2 plays, and they were both turnovers for us. And one of them was Ron Stallworth taking a fumble, an air fumble, and running it back in. I mean, just incredible. I mean, so I think this game would be remembered more if Florida State had been up like 21 at that point. Right. Because then it would be like the interception game with LSU, where LSU was winning, but we got all those interceptions and came back. This was just rubbing them in the mud, rubbing their faces in it over. Not on purpose. It just they kept doing stuff, right?
It is very much a Florida State kept trying to attack, and then they kept blowing it, turning it over, and it led to more Auburn points.
That's right. What was your memory of this game before we rewatched it now? Did you? I mean, I know you knew it happened, and remembered it, but
my memory was more about we won, and again, intense dislike of Florida State, but also kind of this explosion at the end, right? Of just everything going our way.
I remembered that too, and I remembered Bo had a couple of plays, but I had forgotten how they completely shut Bo down. Other than a few of those plays.
Yes.
And I had forgotten that all of that happened in less than 6 minutes.
That's an insane amount of action for 6 minutes of football.
I thought it was spread out over like half the third quarter and the fourth quarter or something. I didn't realize they just like, it was like two dragsters, and they got to the last quarter of the drag, and then it just blew up. It exploded and threw pieces all over the track. Yeah. So Auburn at this point, all time, was 12-1-1 against Florida State. Imagine that, right?
Again, people that aren't aware, like Florida State was a teacher's college for a long time, and their football program was relatively new, even at this time we were playing. So they were not the team they were going to be, but this was a legitimately good Florida State team with obviously a lot of talented players on it.
So this was the third in a row that we beat them, 83, 84, 85. They would beat us in 87, 88, 89, leading to the 1990 game, which kind of settled it out. And then the announcers mentioned that we were supposed to not play in 86, and we didn't. But then we were going to go into a long series, but that didn't happen. We played in 87 in Auburn, Tallahassee in 89. Auburn in 90 was a one-off. I think that part of it was that Florida State joined the ACC and decided to cancel the series on their side, and nobody said anything when Florida State didn't want to play it. Then we decided to renew it when we had Terry Bowden, and so we were going to play them in 99. And then when Tommy Tuberville came in, he's like, "Well, I don't want to play them. It was just because it was dad
team. No,
it was dad versus son, so that was going to be cool. But without that, so Tuberville decided to cancel the series. That was the famous War Chicken, they called it. And then so the 1990 game was really the last time we played them for 23 years, until a game that we shall not mention.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. Anyway, all right. So any final thoughts to wrap this one up?
It does make me think we should schedule another, like a home and home series with them. Like, it's a great rivalry. These two teams, it's not that far away, and two good teams, fan bases that don't like each other. It would be intense, and I want to play them again. These were great games to be in the stands at Jordan-Hare for. All of the Florida State games that were in Jordan-Hare were incredibly, intense. Even the one in 87 where they pasted us. It was a good crowd and a good day, but it's, I enjoy beating Florida State, and this particular game, it was so epic the way it was. As you said, it was so close, and we just pulled away and left them in the dust.
Yeah, that I feel like when we probably first scheduled them in the late 70s, early 80s for these games in the 80s, it was like scheduling Southern Miss.
Exactly.
And then it turns out to be these world-class heavyweight contests.
No, exactly. I think the Southern Miss comparison is very apt. They were not a football powerhouse, an independent Southern team who was good but not great, and we scheduled them in this row where we played them between, in the row with Florida, Georgia, and Alabama at the end of the season.
That's right. Yeah, that was Amen Corner, as Pat Dye used to call it when we would play them. We would play Florida, Florida State, Georgia, Alabama to close out. That was not for the weak of heart right there. So. All right. So, again, I will ask you to keep supporting the show, www.auwishbone.com. Click on the big orange button. And then also, if you have a game that you can find us a 30, 40, 50-minute video supercut, we would be happy to take a look at it and consider it for here. And or if you're able to do that, we would appreciate it. And otherwise, John, I think our time is up. We think of yours. War Eagle, John.
We're good, man.